In this video, we will be solving simultaneous equations using substitution method. And these questions are from our textbook, exercise 2.3. We begin with question 3F. So as usual, we call the first equation number 1. We call the second one equation number 2. Since we are going to be solving by substitution, we're going to try and find either x or y variable with a coefficient of 1 or negative 1, because that will be the most convenient. But in this case, there isn't any, so it doesn't really matter which equation you start off with. So I chose to just work with equation number 1 and to make x the subject. So once we manage to make x the subject, we call it equation number 3 and immediately sub into equation number 2, the equation that was not used. So, and now every time we see the x, you replace it with your 1/5 of negative 2y minus 13. You continue to copy down the rest of it all. So minus 7, and this gives us 8y. All we need to do is to expand. We can also choose to multiply 5 throughout in order to remove this 1/5. So combining two steps where I multiply everything by 5, at the same time I expand in. So we will arrive at negative 14y minus, so 7 times 13 gives us 91. And we multiply by 5 to the 7, get 35. And this gives us 40y. So let's group all the y terms together and all the x terms together. So if I were to add 14y on both sides, I will end up with 54y on the right hand side, and on the left hand side I would have negative 126. This implies that y has a value of negative 126 divided by 54, which is negative 7/3. And we substitute this into our equation number 3, where we already had x as the subject. So x now has a value of negative 1/5, negative 2 times of negative 7/3 minus 13. So just input this into your calculator. And we arrive at x value of negative 5/3. So in summary, x is negative 5/3, while y has a value of negative 7/3. Let's now move on to question 4F. So again, solving by simultaneous equation. Let's copy down the two equations first. 24x minus 8y plus 4 equals to 0. So that's our equation number 1. Second equation, 12x minus 10y minus 7 equals to 0. So equation number 2. Now the question did not specify to use substitution method. So by now you have already learned the elimination method. You probably will realize that, hey, if I were to multiply equation 2 by 2, elimination would be a little easier. But since we are trying to practice our substitution, we shall go ahead and do that. So this time I'll start from equation number 2. And I want to make x the subject. And then x will be just 1/12 of 10y plus 7. Call this equation number 3, sub into our equation number 1. So now you can see why I chose to make make x the subject from equation 2. So I'm going to copy down whatever is highlighted in yellow first, so 24, and now our x value. Okay, we're going to replace this x over here with this. So we have 1/12, and from here we see that actually the 24 and 1/12, they will cancel off. Not really cancel off, it will be reduced to simply 2. because 24 divided by 12 is 2. So a little forward planning over there resulted in this convenience that I have now. So 10y plus 7, and now I have done the substitution already. So carry on copying down everything else in yellow. Okay, so as expected, left with 2 over here, so I can expand already. 20y plus 14 minus 8y plus 4 equals to 0. So we have 12y equals to negative 18, and y has a value of negative 3 over 2. We substitute this into our equation number 3. So now we have x is 1 over 12 of 10 times of negative 3 over 2 plus 7. Okay, so you can input this into your calculator. Negative 15 plus 7, you get negative 8. Negative 8 divided by 12, negative 2 over 3. So in summary, our x value is negative 2 over 3, while our y value is negative 3 over 2. So you can input the respective coefficients into your calculator. So we've taught you how to do that to verify your answers. Please take note that when you key in to a calculator in order to try and verify, you have to rearrange them into this format: 24x minus 8y equals to negative 4, 12x minus 10y equals to 7, because this is the format that the calculator demands. Okay, so calculator says x value negative 2/3, y value negative 3 over 2. So we are correct. Moving on to question 5D. So first equation, 4 over 2x plus y gives us 3 over x plus y. Call this equation 1. Next one, 7x minus 2y is 15. So call this equation number 2. Now, look at both equations. Is it easier to make either x or y the subject from equation 1, or is it easier to make either x or y the subject from equation number 2? So I believe many of you would choose equation 2 because we don't have to work with a fraction when you're making something a subject here. Okay, so go ahead. Let's try to make y the subject. So 2y has a value of 7x minus 15. Divide by 2 everywhere. So 7x minus 15. We call this equation number 3, and we sub into, same thing, the equation that is not used, in this case equation number 1. Okay, now again we are going to copy down everything we see here except for the y, because we are going to replace every instance of y with what we just found, what we just developed in equation number 3. So go ahead, do it properly, calmly, slowly. Now I'm copying down whatever is in yellow, 2x plus, and now the y value, we are going to substitute half 7x minus 15. On the other side, 3 over x plus, now half again, 7x minus 15. Okay, so from here, we will want to, there are many different things that you can do. For me, I do not like to see the half over here. So what I can do is to multiply the denominator by 2. So if I were to do that, I'll get 4x, and this half would disappear. But I cannot just multiply 2 to the denominator without doing anything else, because that would be changing the question. So I will need to multiply by 2 for the numerator also. So that effectively, what I am doing is simply just multiplying both numerator and denominator by 2, which is the same as multiplying by 1. So with that same idea, we do the same for the fraction on the right. So multiply by 2, multiply by 2. Objective is to remove that half over there. So in the numerator, we have 8 over, now you expand, you get 4x. Continue to expand, half disappears, we end up with plus 7x minus 15. On the other side, we have 6 over x plus, 2x plus 7x minus 15. Okay, now we continue to simplify. 8 over 11x minus 15. On the other side, 6 over 9x minus 15. Now you can multiply across. So 9 times 8, 72x minus 15 times 8 gives us 120. And we get 66x minus 90. Okay, group all the like terms together. So 72 minus 66, we get 6x. 120 minus 90, we get 30. X must be equal to 5. So we sub into our equation number 3. Y will then have a value of half times of 7 times 5 minus 15. Okay, so 35 minus 15, that's 20, divided by 2, 10. So our x value is 5, while our y value is 10. Okay, so now in this case, we are unable to use our calculator to verify our answers unless we rewrite our equation number 1 into a linear form. That is, our x variable plus our y variable equals to a constant. Now we carry on with part F. So I'll do it over here. So first equation, 8 times of 2x plus y minus 3, 5x plus 4y equals to 0. That's equation number 1. Now equation number 2 is 1/6 x plus 2, 1/3 y plus 4. Okay, so making something the subject, we can choose to manipulate both equations beforehand. So for example, from equation number 1, we want to try and carry off all the brackets first and group all the x terms and all the y terms together. So we end up with 16x plus 8y minus 15x minus 12y equals to 0. So 16 minus 15x, we simply get x, and 8 minus 12y, we get negative 4y. So we have from the first equation x is equal to 4y. And we can choose to directly substitute this into our equation number 2. Or you can also manipulate equation 2 first if you want to. So it's really up to you. But for me, I think I'll just leave it as equation 3 and sub into number 2. So I'll do the same highlighting again. I will be copying down everything over here. Basically anything that is not x. Okay, I'll be copying it down. And every time I see the x, I'll replace it with x equals to 4y. So this gives me 1/6, 4y plus 2, and that's 1/3 y plus 4. Couple of options over here. I'm going to choose to multiply by 6 throughout to get rid of the 1/6 and the 1/3. So 4y plus 2, we get 2y plus 8. So 2y has a value of 6, y has a value of 3, sub into equation number 3. And that gives me x is 4 times of 3, which is 12. In summary, x equals to 12, y equals to 3. And we have one last question, which is part G. I'll just erase this chunk. Now in part G, we have two fractions. So x over 6, y over 3 equals to 4. First equation. Second equation, x over 12, 2y over 3 equals to 4. Okay, so same thing. Either you make x the subject, y the subject, whichever is more convenient, or you can change them into linear forms, or a more recognizable form without all the fractions. So in equation number 1, I'm going to try and make x the subject by multiplying throughout by 6. So we end up with x plus 6 times of y over 3 equals to 4 times of 6. So x will be 24 minus 2y. So this is equation number 3 sub into equation number 2. So 24 minus 2y over 12, 2y over 3. Now I know that I can multiply by 4 in both numerator denominator to get 12. So this is equal to 4. So 24 minus 2y plus 8y over 12 equals to 4. So this implies that 24 plus 6y equals to 48. And 6y has to be equal to 24. Y will be equal to 4. Sub into equation number 3. So x will have a value of 24 minus 2 times of 4, which is 24 minus 8, we get 16. So in summary, x is 16 and y is 4.